All right, let's do this. Welcome one, welcome all. Today it's not going to be a One Piece related video. It's just going to be about probably basically just like me as a person diving into my psyche, figuring out a little bit, not figuring out, but doing a little bit of some self reflection on some things that have been going through my mind for the past couple of days because there's some things brought up to my attention about like me at work and this new job that I started, and then I've been homesick a little bit lately. Sup?
Did you already order?
Yeah, why? What you want?
I'm gonna add to it.
What do you want?
Did you already order?
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? What do I want? You already ordered.
That's true. I got you. That's my roommate Josh. He's pretty sick. And like homesick, not like I like miss the general direction of my home and like the actual landscape itself and the geography. Like I could give a fuck less about Sonora. It's more of like I really miss my dog. Honestly, like even though my brother who I live with now has two dogs, it's like you move somewhere and it's like it's not the same dog. Like his name is Shmi. He's a little Boston Terrier. He's been in a couple of my videos, and I miss that dude, honestly. And like I miss my mates, but like you grow up. Like I'm 25 now. Like I've done this before. I lived out in Sacramento for 4 years. I missed my dogs then, and I got over it. And then I became acclimated to just like normal routines, like going to work there, meeting new people there, like figuring out the roads, all that kind of stuff. It's like that. Like I realized has subconsciously kind of put me back a little bit. Moving up to Oregon, I've been up here for about a month and a half now, and it kind of reflected in like my work, and like the only thing I've really been doing good at up here is working out, and it's because it's like it's a safe space for me, and it's been really nice to go to a gym where like there's caring people and you can meet new people, and there's people who are like, holy fuck, you can squat 270 and you're what 140 pounds, like just like those little like ego boosts and kind of like what do you call them, like yeah, just ego boosts we'll call them for now, or nice, right? But you move out again, and even though you've been through the motions of moving out and you're starting your life over again, there's things that kind of hold you back. And I wanted to do a little bit of self-reflecting in front of a camera so I can record this, so I can put it up on YouTube, so if anybody feels how I feel, right, this may help them. Or if they're not feeling how I feel and they want to comment on the video and say like, hey man, like this is what I do, like pointers, like there's so many different platforms out there for people to really express themselves and get help or help others. And I hope that eventually this is one of those things that comes into fruition where like my channel grows big enough to where I not necessarily talk about One Piece, I can talk about other things that I love. So like I want to be a sports physician, right? But I'm freaking out about going back to school because I owe Columbia like $700 still, which is fucking ridiculous. But it's like there's all these things that I've been thinking about recently, and I'm just gonna get into it, and this is what I've been thinking about lately. So my brother's girlfriend Leilani works at Gustav's, which is the German restaurant that I work at, and she basically got me a job there, so I'm thankful for that. And then we like talk about work here and there, and I'm like, hey, what's this? Because like I still don't fucking know the menu. I know the menu well enough to sell some things, right? But I don't know the ins and outs of it like the back of my hand, like I used to at other jobs. And just because like everything's been going through my mind subconsciously lately about like being homesick and like missing my mates, my dog, and like not knowing the roads up here. I've been up here a month and a half, and I just figured out how to get to work and the gym without using my GPS. So it's like just shit like that kind of like hinders you a little bit. And it was brought to my attention that like because I'm new, right, I don't take criticism really well, and that's me as a person. I only choose to accept criticism when I want to accept it. I don't actually take it past face value. I know this has just been me my whole entire life. So what I personally do, and I'm trying to knock the habit that I've been thinking about lately, is I will compare myself to others, but it'll be a very select portion of the others and compare myself to it. So an example will be like, it was brought up that I'm kind of I've been like, we have this thing called foot speed, and the faster you move and you move with urgency like you should with any job is apparent. and you should be moving at like, let's say a 70% or like an 80% like power walk at all times. So it's like, I'm gonna go get drinks, and then you walk, and then you're like, I'm gonna go get the food, and then you walk, and then like you move with this urgency, right? And someone, I don't know who at the job, said that like I kind of move around lackadaisically, right? And so like me myself, when I took that criticism at first, I was like, no, I don't. Like, compared to like these two people, right? Like, I'm far well and beyond above like what they're doing. But then I don't necessarily take the criticism as a whole compared to the rest of the restaurant, who's been there for, let's say, like 3, 4, 5, 6+ years, however long they've been there, right? And I don't compare myself to the people who are already great. I compare myself to the people who are subpar. So it's kind of this unorthodox version of thinking about how I fit into the restaurant. And so I kind of like brushed it off. I was like, you know what? No, like I'm good. Like the thing that I suck the most at is like getting drinks on time. Like there's a day where I miss like drinks by like 2-minute ticket times each time, which is bad, right? Like you're not supposed to be doing that. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Like this past week I have been kind of free floating and like moving at my own speed, not at the actual speed of the restaurant. This mustache gets really annoying. And then she also pointed out that like I wasn't the best this last week, or she heard from other people that I wasn't the best at running my own food. And so I was like, well, it's because I'm not running my own food necessarily. I'm running my food and this person's food and this person's food and this person's food. And I didn't consider like sitting back and thinking about how like that's how the restaurant works specifically, is it's not just your section, it's how you can help out other people. And I wasn't necessarily helping out other people to the best of my ability. I was more focusing on myself and picking out a few people to help, not just actually helping the restaurant in a whole. So the one thing that I am going to be working on now is, if I do suck at something, I want to catch it myself first. So these past 2 days I worked doubles, right? And both my managers were like, hey, good job today. And I was like, are you saying that sarcastically because I sucked last week? Or like, are you saying that because I actually did a good job today? And it took them back by a second. They're like, no, actually good job today. And I was like, fuck, my bad. Like, thank you. Like, I didn't take it like as a compliment. I took it as like a backhanded compliment, and I shouldn't have done that. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, that's so fucking stupid of me to assume that somebody's going to give me a backhanded compliment when like I worked 2 doubles and it was actually pretty fucked because it was Father's Day weekend. So that's like one of the things that I do want to work on, is no more self-pity. That's been like one of my biggest things, like, oh, I do this for other people and like nobody helps me back. But what I realize, I'm like, there's a lot of people out in my life who are really helping me at work, at the gym, like my family, like my roommates now, like my best mates. It's just like, it's always this cycle of progression to where you want to be bigger. Not bigger, you want to be better than what you were yesterday. And I know that sounds cliche, but that's really what it is. Like, I have a notebook for work, and it has my pad in it to where I write down all of the orders. And at the top of my notebook, on my pad, I put get good, be better than yesterday. And like, I really have to start focusing on that and doing a couple of different things around myself to work on those. And also, side note, it's now 8 minutes and 41 seconds into the video, and I should have said this early at the video, but my bed is a fucking disaster. Like 99% of the time. The only time I make it is when I'm about to do like a one-piece video, because I want my room to look somewhat nice, right? And this is usually what it is, so that's another thing that I have to work on, is just self-cleanliness. I mean, other than that, like, my room's pretty decent. It's not the cleanest. You can lick the walls and there's gonna be no dust on it, but it's like, I have like my setup right here, and it's like, it's my phone, like my handkerchief to wipe down my computer that gets a little bit dirty, and then I have like my coin jar, I have a LaCroix from last night, and then like there's the dog toys, and like there's my, what is that, a sock on the floor. I have my dirty clothes basket, and then those are all the clothes in the corner, the ones that I'm gonna sell, because I have to make a little bit extra money. But it's like little things like that where it's like, as a 25-year-old, I really should have my shit together. But like, the more I look at myself, the more I realize that like, I'm not the most ideal person of who I want to be. And the greatest thing about realizing that, and self-realization and self-awareness, is you can start moving, you start taking those steps to becoming that better person. So it's like, going back on that self-pity part of myself, it's like, if I say no more self-pity, right? It's like I have one of two options. I could say it and do nothing about it, or I can say it and change it. And that's the part of my life where I'm at right now. It's like there's a lot of change going on. Like I said, I want to be a sports physician, and that's 12 years of schooling, and I've gotten maybe 1.5, close to 2 years out of it. So I'm still looking at 10 years. I still want to get into medical school. So it's like, how myself do I push myself and get that internal motivation again to reach those goals? And from working a bunch of different jobs, I know that there's always long-term goals and there's always short-term goals to reach those long-term goals. So it's like, you can't just say, I want to be a millionaire. This is a classic example. And then do nothing about it for 10 years and then be pissed in 10 years that you're not a millionaire, right? Like, you have to take those steps. You have to make that 500 to that 5 grand to that 10 grand to that 100 grand to that 763 grand to that 1 million. It's like, you have to take those steps, and I just have to start re-implementing that in my life. And I think that's it for Self-Awareness Sunday. But there's something else that I wanted to get off my chest. Encoding overlock. Consider turning down video settings. Now, fuck that. Y'all are getting the best out of the best from me. That's really about it. It's just that whole self-pity and working on bettering myself at work and as a human being. So if you guys are going through any issues, talk to me. Let me know. I might not give the best advice. I'll give some advice. I'll be there for you. If you have any comments, if you have any advice for me, I'll gladly take it. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm probably going to be doing these Self-Awareness Sunday videos about once every 3 weeks, once a month, honestly, just to like kind of keep reminding myself and putting it out there that I have something that I need to change. I'm not saying I'm the worst human being ever, right? Like, I'm enjoyable. It's cool. But it's like, you get to that point where you're like, am I putting on a facade of I'm actually the best version of me right now? Or am I going to work towards that and actually become like a more real human being? So that's it for like me and getting it off my mental. It sounds weird, and like, you think that you talk about it and you would feel good about just talking about it, getting it off your chest, like it's a like an addiction or something, right? Like, usually that's the first part of something, is realizing it and then talking about it, and then you like feel like a little bit better about it. Like, that might work, right? But it's like, I don't personally feel any different right now, because I know that I have to take these steps to actually become what I said I wanted to become. And so I think this is just a good thing for me personally to figure all this out. So there's that. The other thing I want to talk about is I'm a lazy motherfucker, honestly. Like, I want to do YouTube so bad, but I just have not put in the maximum amount of time and effort and gone beyond that to get to where I want to be within a year. And I know I keep saying it, but like, just talking about the self-awareness part, it's like, that is a big self-awareness part of me, is like, I'm aware that I'm lazy, but I don't necessarily change things to combat the laziness. And usually, like, what happens is I'll hit the live reaction, then 2-3 days later I'll hit the review, and then I might put out a video in the week. So that's another thing that I'm really going to focus on, is I now have a couple of video ideas. As much as I want to put out different and unique content, my buddy Dritz from YouTube said it doesn't really matter when you're first starting about how high quality of the content is, and it's about how much you put out. And it didn't really hit me until about like the other day, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I have some different unique views on One Piece, but I'm not at the point in my YouTube career yet to where I can actually put those out to reach a wide enough audience to be heard. So I will continue to create my videos with the uniqueness that I have, but I plan on more mass producing the videos until I can become more clear and concise and do the one video every like 2 days, 3 days, really jot down my notes and all that. So I'm going to start talking about a lot more frequently for just the channel in general. And until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful Father's Day weekend. Me, myself, I'm not a father, but I am a daddy to few, so ladies, if you want a child,